Yeah, man. And I wanted to do this because I think I'm the first guy in this thing. Good. And you and I have been friends for 12 years now. And so I know a different Tim. And so I think it's important to address the elephant in the room. You think?
Yeah.
Right. By the way, there are already comments right now.
Yeah.
You can just read the comments.
I know.
Yeah, right.
Stolen
already.
valor.
Yeah, all that stuff.
You've never been deployed.
Yeah, and so one of the things I want to be very careful too with addressing it, because I don't want to get bodied by. I'm not a journalist. I didn't do any. The most I've come close to is go and do stand up in Afghanistan in 2007. That's as close to a war zone in Afghanistan. And but there's one of the things I want to sort of I think that when all the stuff went down about you, about the book, about the V for valor, when that happens to a friend of yours, you go, well, where do I put all this stuff? I don't know enough. I read the book, loved it. I don't know what's true and what's not, because I don't know anything about combat. I know certain tier 1 guys were like, hey, this doesn't make sense. I saw some of that. So I want to be very careful and respectful of anybody, not just people who fought, but people who spent a lot of time in theater away from their loved ones, paid a price for that.
Get to work with the greatest guys in the world and go to places that matter. I'm there for the mission and I'm there for the guys.
I know, but I understand. My frustration in that was there has to be a way there are certain people who are very critical of you.
Yeah.
And I get it.
When you're in the public eye, and that's something
we'll get to what their complaint. Well, I want to be respectful of certain Green Berets, Delta guys. I can't remember some of their names, but these guys who've seen a lot of combat, they had specific allegations that I think is important to address out of respect for them and their service, and out of respect for anybody who served. And I want to not skirt that. My thing is that I kept saying to you, because again, I know the people that you worked with, like, how is it that certain people don't know that you were in those kinetic situations for a long period of time?
What?
We have to be so delicate here, right?
Yeah. I mean,
this is so, because I can't say anything.
Active duty transition to National Guard. National Guard, tried to be the best soldier I can possibly be. When you're in the National Guard, you are a part-time person, which means you have a full-time job. My full-time job was fighting and then going overseas for different organizations that I worked for.
Okay, but hold it. I know
that's
different organizations that you worked for.
Yeah. So like that explains.
Some organizations were not humanitarian.
Some were not.
Some were. But some were.
Some humanitarian missions were.
Can I say
also
this much?
In conflict areas.
We can edit this if we have to. Can I say this much?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to just say this. There were a number of times you went overseas, not with Green Berets, where your activities were not humanitarian. They were not for publicity. They were in a kinetic capacity. They were where you were in a combat capacity.
Absolutely true.
Is that true?
That's probably been. I'm going to totally stay out of it. And the guys that, were being critical of me, they have every right to be. And some of their criticisms were founded in mistakes, overstatements, inaccuracies, fog of war, me viewing my life through rose-colored lenses, like all of the things, especially like when you're at the top, and you're writing a book and it's super exciting and you're carried away with the moment and absolutely telling big fish stories.
Okay, let's talk about that. So there were some fish stories told.
Oh yeah.
And I can just see people going, call it what it is, lies, embellishments, exaggerations. All right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So that's a big admission.
Yeah.
Then and I think it's really important to at least dilate on that, because if that's the case, then whatever the price you're paying is worth it. You kind of deserve it.
Yes.
Okay. Because you don't get away with anything in life at the end of the day. You know, we get carried away, and we have a tendency when everything's working out for us to think we're one of God's favorites. This is where God chin checks you. I mean, I'm as I get older, I become more of a religious man.
And you experience that pretty.
You get chin checked. The minute you start thinking that you're the guy, God.
An honor graduate, and I wasn't the distinguished honor graduate. I got the leadership award,
which is one below.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Bryan School is awesome. Everybody should go. It's a great school.
I don't know how to hold your feet to the fire. I don't know. I'm just okay. So that was you read the book, right? Did you read your own book?
I did. Well, I once it was finished, then.
In other words, did you do the book on tape for it?
I did. But now we're too late to make edits because the book's already printed, and when you're reading your own book, like books are already published. Oh. Yeah. So when I was kind of going through it and reading my manuscript, I was like, man, I wonder if guys are gonna. I could have been more clear to this. Yeah.
But it was too late.
Yeah, and I was also I am very proud of that book.
Yeah.
You know, like when I wrote that book, it's in present tense. So, you know, for some chapters, I'm a 11-year-old kid.
Oh yeah. Well, you are an 11-year-old kid in general.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you're like, my friend was like, you ever met Tim? It's like, this is the best coffee I've ever had in my life. You're the funniest person on the planet. He's the strongest guy. He's the greatest human being on the planet. You're the most.
And there's an axe behind you. We should fight somebody.
You exaggerate every minute of your life. It's either that's the greatest guy in the world or he should be beaten to death. There's no real middle ground with you. Not in any way. You're either all the way over here or you're all the way over here.
And you know, and you see this kind of time and time again, like bag of grenades. Like, did I have a bag?
We'll get to that. Okay. Hold on. So Ranger School.
That I'm looking at one of the commanders. I'm like, dude, that guy doesn't know anything. And that's why I was trying to write that book. Just like the 11-year-old memories aren't going to be accurate. Some of the combat memories are going to be inaccurate because it's the perspective that I had at the time. But then I also like said some stupid stuff that were without a doubt fish stories.
Why?
Make an awesome book, you know, make it.
I know it would be great if it was fiction, but it wasn't fiction. So I wish I had been there so I could be like, hey, dude, you can't write that because it didn't happen.
Or the parts that did happen where I'm like, you know, 20-hour prolonged sniper fire, you know, was it a couple hours? Yes. Was it 20 hours? No. Were we in a tick for multiple days? Yes.
Yeah.
In that tick where I'm like working with Czech Special Forces who are awesome, by the way. I love you guys. My deployment to Belgium that I just got back from, can I call it deployment? For the exercise that I was sent overseas.
Exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of 2 missions during an 8-month deployment. So like, I also took a bunch of stuff that happened and put it.
Not allowed to do that.
No.
Can't do that.
Into one story.
No, not allowed to do that.
No.
Because what happens is you have people that have a lot of experience in combat, like Delta Force guys, A Squadron guys who go, I'm sorry, this math isn't making sense.
This math's not mathing.
So you deserve to get bodied.
I did.
And this is the thing, is like you write this book and it didn't dawn on you because you move at 100 miles an hour and you got caught up in your fish story. It didn't dawn on you that there were guys out there who had a lot of experience who were going to go, this doesn't add up. This is what drives me nuts about you.
Yeah, I should have slowed down.
My friend said something really interesting about you. He said he was already Spider-Man. And Spider-Man got caught trying to put Superman's cape on. And I think it's a really accurate description of what happened. And you are Spider-Man. I mean, you're a bad motherfucker. There's nobody's going to say otherwise. You're just one of those guys. You don't get tired. I mean, one of your Green Beret friends was telling a hilarious story. You guys were in Ranger School, and everybody was shot. It was 12 hours. Everybody was starving, tired. Embellishments, lies, exaggerations. You're just not allowed to do that. And if you do that, the internet will find out.
Yeah.
And you get crushed. And you did get crushed.
Yeah, I got bodied.
And you got bodied. And you know, I would have told you, and I would tell you now that is deserved.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I love you, sorry, brother. It's like you tried to put Superman's cape on and you got bodied. And I believe that, one of the things about life is that when we are arrogant enough to think we can get away with people by writing a book and profiting from it, we're going to get bodied.
Bryan Callen confronted Tim Kennedy about lying about his military service. So, Callen was 100% running cover, although I will give Callen some credit. He did call him a liar, and he did push back a bunch of times, so it wasn't a complete fluff thing. The overall takeaway was, you're still a good guy, and this guy is still bullshitting a bunch of stuff. I mean, he looks like a redacted Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, I don't know too much about Tim Kennedy, but I was in the military. So I can give you my thoughts on it as someone who was in the military. Yes, I fought for your freedom. I was getting drunk on an aircraft carrier and hooking up with hookers in foreign countries for your freedom. Thank me, people. Well, yes, I was in the Navy. I joined in 2004, but I had to do a year of DEP. So I didn't actually go to boot camp until 2005. See, back when I had joined, there was this little thing that had started. It was called the Iraq War. And they didn't really want people to join the Navy, which I had joined. They really wanted people to join the Army and the Marines. So if you joined the Navy, there was such like a waiting list. You had to do a year of DEP. So once a month, you had to go down to your recruiter's office and get like drug tested and worked out and do some other written tests and stuff. But then went to boot camp 2005, graduated, then, did 4 years on an aircraft carrier that was dry dock in Virginia. But they made me do TAD service on another aircraft carrier. And oh boy, there's some stories there. But as in regards to like this guy, I never got this stuff. Like Chris Kyle would do this. Like, wasn't the stuff you did good enough? Why do you gotta lie about it? But that whole speech that Callen gave to him at the end, I just want Bryan Callen to sit down and do this with Brendan Schaub. Yes, I made it all about Schaub somehow, people. But he needs to have this conversation with Schaub, like, dude, you lie about everything. You're insane. Stop with all the bullshit. But as in regards to Tim Kennedy, so what's going on here? Like, is he trying to claim? I think he's still bullshitting because he's still trying to claim, he worked for Blackwater or something. So he's counting, like he said, deployment, but he wasn't in the military. He was doing private stuff, but he's still trying to keep some of the bullshit stories going. I don't know. All I know about those type of dudes is I remember in boot camp all the guys who wanted to be Navy SEALs, so they'd wake them up at 2 a.m. to do extra workout shit, and you'd hear them. You'd be like, "Shut up! I'm trying to go to bed. I have to be up at 6." It's annoying. But as in regards to this guy, you can just tell he's a complete and total bullshit artist. But I did like how Callen pushed back on some things. Look, I don't know too much about it. You can tell Callen doesn't know too much about it. But the fact that this guy had to address it lets me know that he's in a lot of career trouble. Maybe he can get over it. I don't know. Did Steve Renazizi ever truly get over that whole 9/11 thing? Remember, he claimed he was in 9/11. By the way, the problem with guys like this is they only admit it though when they get caught. Like if Steve Renazizi didn't get caught, what was it, like a newspaper was gonna break the story, so he just came out and said, yeah, I lied about 9/11. But he only did it because he was going to get busted. Same thing with this guy. If they weren't going to get caught, they were still going to stick with the lie. So which lets me know they're still lying about some stuff, and they plan on lying going forward. And like Callen even said, this guy like lies about everything. Jesus, Callen's got a bunch of these people in his life Just bullshit about everything. Is he the type of guy like Schaub? I've always said this about Schaub. I wonder if Tim Kennedy's the same way. Where Brendan Schaub, if he's walking down the street and a car pulled up and rolled down their window and asked for directions, and Schaub had no idea, he would still give directions. Is Tim Kennedy sort of the same way? Would he be like, hey, you go down, take 2 lefts and a right, quarter mile down the road? I don't know, but let me know your thoughts in the comments.